Alcatraz Island, also known as The Rock, is a small island located in San Francisco Bay, California, USA. It is most famous for being the site of the Alcatraz Federal Penitentiary, which operated from 1934 to 1963. Alcatraz Federal Penitentiary was a maximum security prison designed to hold the most dangerous and notorious criminals in the United States. The prison was built to be escape-proof, with reinforced concrete walls, gun galleries, and guard towers. It was intended to house inmates who were deemed too dangerous or high-profile to be held in other prisons. Over the years, Alcatraz housed some of the most infamous criminals in American history, including Al Capone, George "Machine Gun" Kelly, and Robert Stroud, also known as the Birdman of Alcatraz. Despite its reputation as a supermax prison, Alcatraz was not immune to attempts at escape. In total, there were 14 escape attempts during the prison's 29-year history, involving 36 prisoners. Of these, 23 were recaptured, 6 were shot and killed during their escape attempts, 2 drowned, and 5 are listed as missing and presumed drowned. Alcatraz Federal Penitentiary was closed in 1963 due to rising costs and deteriorating infrastructure. Today, the island is a popular tourist attraction and a designated National Historic Landmark. In 1962, 3 inmates attempted to escape from Alcatraz Federal Penitentiary, which was considered to be one of the most secure prisons in the United States at the time. The 3 inmates were Frank Morris, John Anglin, and Clarence Anglin. The plan involved the creation of fake heads made of soap, plaster, and human hair to fool the guards during nighttime checks. The inmates also dug through the concrete walls of their cells using spoons and other makeshift tools. Once they had broken through the walls, the inmates climbed through the ventilation shafts and onto the roof of the prison. From there, they used homemade tools to loosen the bolts that secured the air ducts to the roof. They then climbed down to the ground using a network of pipes and a makeshift rope made of clothing and bedding. The inmates had also fashioned life jackets and a raft out of stolen raincoats, which they planned to use to cross the San Francisco Bay to reach the mainland. The escape took place on the night of June 11, 1962, and the inmates were not discovered missing until the next morning. Despite an extensive manhunt involving boats, planes, and helicopters, the inmates were never found. As part of their escape plan from Alcatraz Federal Penitentiary in 1962, the 3 inmates constructed a raft from stolen raincoats. The inmates used over 50 raincoats to create the raft, which they inflated using a small concertina-style bellows, made of an accordion, and used a motorized fan to fill the makeshift raft with air. The raft was approximately 6 feet long and 2.5 feet wide, and was made to be as inconspicuous and compact as possible to avoid detection. The inmates planned to use the raft to cross the San Francisco Bay, to reach the mainland. However, it's unclear if the raft was successful in transporting the inmates. The official investigation concluded that the inmates likely drowned in the cold and treacherous waters of the bay, but there have been many theories over the years, suggesting that the inmates may have survived and made it to shore. The raft itself was never recovered, adding to the mystery surrounding the escape. Today, the fate of the escapees remains unknown, and the 1962 Alcatraz escape continues to capture the public's imagination. The official story of the 1962 Alcatraz prison escape is that, on the night of June 11, 1962, 3 inmates, Frank Morris, John Anglin, and Clarence Anglin, escaped from their cells, and climbed onto the roof of the prison. From there, they made their way to the ground, using a network of pipes, and a makeshift rope made of clothing and bedding. The inmates had also created fake heads, made of soap, plaster, and human hair, to fool the guards during nighttime checks. They had also dug through the concrete walls of their cells, using spoons and other makeshift tools. Once they had reached the shoreline, the inmates launched a makeshift raft, made of stolen raincoats, into the San Francisco Bay. The official theory is that the inmates drowned in the cold, treacherous waters of the bay, while attempting to reach the mainland. The escape was not discovered until the next morning, and despite an extensive manhunt, involving hundreds of law enforcement officers, and a nationwide search, no trace of the escapees was ever found. The case was officially closed by the FBI in 1979, and the escape remains one of the most famous unsolved mysteries in American history. The official story of the 1962 Alcatraz escape is based on the evidence and testimony available to law enforcement officials at the time. However, there have been many theories and reports over the years suggesting that the inmates may have survived and lived out their lives in hiding. Nevertheless, there is no concrete evidence to support these claims. What do you guys think of the escape attempt? Let us know, down in the comments.